With all the theories that are floating around on the internet about the possible future of the Dutton family on Yellowstone, we may be missing an important piece of information to make accurate predictions. Yellowstone Season 5 theory: John Dutton is already governor. Producer has teased a surprise. Can you guess what it is? Let's take a look and talk about some more Yellowstone fan theories. First up, John Dutton is already governor. It's not unreasonable that fans are expecting Season 5 of Yellowstone to kick off exactly where it ended in Season 4. Garrett Randall, portrayed by Will Patton, will most definitely be dead. Beth Dutton, portrayed by the amazing Kelly Riley, is absolutely going to get fired by Mark Equities, and she's finally going to marry her love Rip Wheeler, who's portrayed by Cole Hauser. And then there's the announcement that ranch owner and Dutton patriarch John Dutton, portrayed by Kevin Costner, made about his intentions to become the governor. But a recent tease from executive producer David C. Glasser seems to be suggesting that there will be some sort of time jump, and instead of a political campaign, we might find John has already completed his campaign with success and is already governor. Episode 1 will immediately surprise everybody, he confirmed. How do you feel about the possibility of a time jump? Next, will Jamie and Beth get closure? The relationship between Jamie and Beth, portrayed by Wes Bentley and Kelly Riley, respectively, has become quite crucial at this point. If they were to be put in a room with each other, things are bound to spiral out of control real fast. Let's face it, Beth is the one who convinced Jamie to kill his own father, Garrett, so how will their storyline find resolution? It's very possible that things will get much worse before they will get better. If they even do, the worst case scenario would be that Jamie just snaps completely and ends up killing his adoptive sister. After all, he's already crossed that line. It would probably not be hard for Jamie to pull the trigger on Beth as well, especially because she's the reason he did it once before, but it's also very possible that they will find closure, but not until the end of Season 5. Kelly Riley told Screen Rant that we'll find the relationship between Jamie and Beth return to some of the dynamic that we saw between them at the start of Yellowstone because they have to work together again. Beth and John, who's portrayed by the legendary Kevin Costner, have some things to push through, and they're going to need Jamie as they won't be able to pull it off themselves. In short, Jamie needs to work for the family, and that could be what Jamie and Beth need to find their way back to each other. And now the case of Case, and the meaning behind "I saw the end of us." At the end of Season 4, Case Dutton, portrayed by Luke Grimes, told his wife Monica, who is portrayed by the lovely Kelsey Asbiel, "I saw the end of us." He'd seen in this indigenous ritual that Case had undergone in an attempt to find out why he keeps seeing a wolf. However, what he found at the end of the ritual was two paths forward, and he didn't like the prospect of either of them. Grimes told The Hollywood Reporter that he has no idea what Case meant with that line, but Sheridan, who has known how each character will end from the moment he started writing the scripts, knows what's up. Grimes himself opted for mystery, so that he'd better be able to give a believable performance, but fans think they have the answer. Case will have to make an important decision, and he won't be able to avoid it. Either he has to accept his fate at the reservation of his wife and children and help take them back to their ancestral land, or choose life with the Dutton family and save the considered a symbol of death in many indigenous cultures. Death, however, usually isn't meant literal and should be considered a sign that something in life will come to an end in order to make room for something new. Do you think it meant the end of his marriage or something else? Before you go, we did have some more in store for you. Who do you think will end up in jail in Yellowstone Season 5, and is it possible for Yellowstone to remain what it is? One thing we know for certain, and that's the fact that death will be at Dutton's door in the upcoming season. Want to know more? Then you better keep watching. Let's continue. First up, jail time. Let's face it, someone's going to end up in jail. There's just no way around it. With all the trouble that everyone in Yellowstone's been getting themselves into, the lines that were crossed, and the laws that were broken, it's really just a matter of when and who, not if. Some fans are convinced it's going to have to be Jamie. It's hard to believe that he'll actually get away with the murder on his father, and one person who's painfully aware of this is, of course, Beth. Not only does she know everything, she is the one who conceived Jamie to dispose of the body and has a picture of it as well, which means that Jamie is really only a conversation away from getting locked up. But a much more interesting fan theory is the one that theorized that it will be John Dutton himself who will end up in jail. After all, Jamie isn't the only one who's at risk to be locked up. John has not always had the best interest of his family in mind, and he's also never put himself in the line of fire, but wouldn't that make it all the more heroic if John decides to sacrifice himself for the greater good? He could save the ranch and his family all in one fell swoop. It would definitely be an ending that would hurt, but we would also have a lot of respect for him if he did. But what do you think is more likely to happen? Next, Yellowstone's going to change forever. It hasn't gone unnoticed that Taylor Sheridan put a pretty little Easter egg in the Yellowstone spin-off 1883. In 1883, we were introduced with the prophecy that says that the Dutton land will be returned to the First Nation people. After all, it was their homeland many years ago. Before the Duttons came into the picture, unless a writer puts in a red herring, it should be clear that nothing is without meaning. And when it comes to Sheridan, we should all come to terms with the fact that this Easter egg is most certainly a warning for what's to come. Throughout the show, it's been hinted that Jon and his family have desperately tried to hold on to their empire, but that the land hasn't owned by anyone. But there's one thing that we can all agree upon, and that's the fact that no one wants to see Mark Equities turn our beautiful Yellowstone into a golf course. Or worse, a generic strip mall that would strip the land of everything natural and beautiful, and the Duttons will do anything to prevent that from happening, as they will have to be struck if the Duttons want to remain on the land. Maybe they will find a way to coexist with the native people, for which there are strong signs, but others are less optimistic, at least for the Duttons, as they firmly believe that we all should be preparing to let go of the ranch. And now, death will come knocking at the Duttons' door. Anyone who's familiar with the work of Taylor Sheridan will know that he isn't afraid to kill off important characters, especially when it'll serve the story in an important way, and true Yellowstone fans will be painfully aware of the fact that the Duttons are overdue with their blood payment to push the story forward. Some will already have been aware of the Sword of Damocles, which has been hanging over our heads and the heads of every single member of the Dutton family for some time now, which is why fans almost unanimously agree that in the upcoming season it should be prepared to see if our beloved characters go. It's good to remember this is usually the catalyst for some big changes in the storyline, and it's unlikely that whoever find their ending, it won't be for nothing. But we all know the Dutton family is never short on mortal enemies, and the stakes have been steadily rising over the past few seasons. In fact, there are a few fatalistic fans out there who think the season 5 will be the end of it all. Even though it's way too soon for a renewal, we all know that we're much closer to the ending of Yellowstone than the beginning. Will this be it? And that's a wrap, my friends. What is your personal favorite fan theory for Yellowstone Season 5? Let us know in the comments what you think, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.